Hi everybody. We're going to visit King Henry VIII a little bit today too. First, Tom and I both have connections to King Henry VIII. They're not such happy connections, but both of us have two each. Each of us has two great grandfathers whom King Henry executed. And I am kin to Catherine Howard and one more of King Henry's brides, but I can't remember which one it is at this time. But anyway, for his tomb, Henry requested a convenient altar, honorably prepared and apparelled with all manner of things requisite and necessary for daily masses, there to be said perpetually while the world shall endure. Described in about 1,400 words, the plans included effigies of the king and queen as if sleeping, numerous angels, prophets aloft, columns, scriptures, and children with baskets of red and white roses scattering them down over the tomb and the pavement beyond. It would have been fabulous and very Henry-esque if it had been built. Neither the tomb nor the masses were completed as Henry had stipulated. Despite his keen control of self-image in life and instructions for his tomb and image in death, poor old Henry remains in a temporary vault under the choir in St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle in the company of his third queen, Jane Seymour, and also the body of Charles I and one of Queen Anne's tragically short-lived children. The chamber is marked simply by a black marble slab placed there almost 300 years later on the orders of William IV. Its functional description, the only thing alerting us to King Henry VIII's presence beneath that slab. A black marble sarcophagus confiscated from Cardinal Wolsey by Henry was to be used for his burial. However, that sarcophagus remained at Windsor for more than 250 years until the Georgians found a use for it and transported it to the crypt of St. Paul's Cathedral, London, where it now holds the coffin of Admiral Horatio Nelson. Poor old Henry. Today we're also going to talk about widows' dower interest. I bet you've never heard of it too much. And what is it? Dower rights were protection to a wife so she would not be left out of her husband's wealth after his death. Upon the death of a husband, a widow was entitled to 1/3 of her husband's estate. Thus her dower rights as a wife became her dower share as a widow, often referred to as the widow's third. Dower was a widow's right to a lifetime interest in 1/3 of all land owned by her husband, unless she chose in place of dower to accept other property left to her under her husband's will. Generally, dower applied to each parcel of land in which the husband held an inheritable interest at any time during the marriage. In the United States, dower is found in the eastern and midwestern states where law was derived from the common law of England. Researchers must determine the legal implications in effect at the time of the dower to form a hypothesis or a conclusion from the presence or absence of a wife or mother's mention in a deed, will, or intestate land distribution. If you locate a deed from a married man which his wife had not joined in making, does it mean that she had already died? In most American colonies and their successor states, a surviving wife who had not joined in the deed could sue the purchaser after her husband's death to recover her dower interest. To avoid such issues, such cautious purchasers insisted that the wife join in deed, so the absence of her signature strongly suggests her earlier death. However, you'll find many differences from one state to another. In some states, such as Connecticut, until 1723, even the wife's own land that she brought to the marriage became her husband's absolutely, to sell or mortgage as he saw fit. Therefore, the absence of her signature on a deed would have no genealogical significance. Similarly, a deed from a son selling land he inherited from his father, which mentions that the land is subject to his mother's dower right, is proof that she is living at the time of the deed. But if she is not mentioned again, the genealogical significance depends on the time and place. The omission may mean only that what was left her by will was worth more and that she relinquished her dower rights. But if her husband died without a will and there is no record that she surrendered her dower rights to the son, then it's more likely that she died by the time the deed was created. Until the enactment of a married woman's emancipation acts in the middle to late 19th century, married women were subject to the legal concept of coverture. This doctrine placed a woman under the legal umbrella of her husband. Only the husband could act for her in any legal proceeding, including selling her own land. For most married couples, only the wife's dower rights mitigated the harshness of coverture. You might like to go to American Ancestors by Rhoda McClure, and you can look that up on the internet. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hope you enjoy the little programs, and we'll see you again, I hope.